for more on the situation. We're on the line now to Criminology and Security Studies lecturer at Caleb University in Lagos, Nigeria, Dr. Diyeli Aigbe. Very good evening to Dr. Aigbe. I hope you can hear us now.
Clearly.
Fantastic. So what can you tell us about the latest reports coming out of these two villages, and what has been government's response to this attack?
The governor of Kwara State visited the scene. He visited the scene. The governor was traumatized by the core of Abu Karim, the governor of Kwara State himself. I can't precisely get his name now, but he went to the scene of the event, the crime scene with killings at Woro in Kwara State, and he saw a first-hand experience of what happened until he visited the paramount ruler and some people. Eyewitness gave a narrative. It was so traumatic. It was so traumatic, so emotional. And when I was looking at that, I was moved to tears to see what is happening. It was so sad that this kind of thing is happening at this time. And the government, he now visited the president to brief the president. And the president has deployed the military now to that place and to be able to mitigate any escalation. So I wonder, this has been occurring. If you look at during the Jonathan government 2015, there was this the Chibok girls. Then after that, during the Buhari government, there was the Dachi girls adoption, and the other two. I mean, within the it was the end of last year, presumably there was the killing too of adoption of schools now. So using the children, they killed about more than 200 people in Woro local government area in Kwara State, and they kidnapped dozens of women and children, probably from intelligence. They saw some getting that they want to use that children and women as a bargaining chips or as a shield in case of any American invasion in those areas. So that's what that is strategy they're using now, a guerrilla warfare attack, in our military, in order to respond to that swiftly. You can see that it's so disheartening that how did they go through those checkpoints? Nigeria, there are a lot of checkpoints in our Nigerian roads, especially in that region. So how did they go? They're not ghosts. How did they disappear? How were they not being surveilled? We talk of use of technology in helping our law enforcement agency to mitigate this, but we've seen the response are very slow. They're dragging in their response. I've said it several times in several platforms that ability to turn attention by the government has been dismal and been lacking, and that's why these insurgency or this Boko Haram people are taking or daring the military, daring our law enforcement agency. They know nothing will happen to them, and nobody will be prosecuted, nobody will be brought to book, and so it's so saddening. And it seems there's an insider threat within the system. Somebody leaked, there was intelligence within them. So you can see the bandits are using intelligence in their operations, and our law agency they're not using their intelligence gathering. They have that synergy. We talk about under the national plan of 2017, or presumably yes, 2017 of strategic communication and use of intelligence collaboration in terms of collating information, in terms of disseminating and gathering information, intelligence.
Let me just stop you there, Dr. Aigbe, because you are speaking rather fast, and there's some important points that you raised that I'd like you to expand on a little bit more. You're saying Boko Haram is using intelligence from where, and in what manner are they using this intelligence? How does it aid them?
Yes, because immediately they got to that local government, they asked they called some certain names, and they said, well, we want to go to the head chief, the clan head here, and they directed them and went straight to that place and started killing. They brought out two women. One of the clan head, the two of the children have just finished from the medical school, and they shot them in a broad daylight at that time in open in public view, and they were killed. So how did they know? They just went. So they're working on intelligence. They can't just operate on intelligence. They can't just operate on their operations. They don't want to go and fail. So they're working on intelligence reports with an insider threat. Under security analysis, we will talk about this insider threat. An insider cannot come to an invasion attack without an insider threat. So they're operating on that intelligence. But it's so disheartening that our law enforcement agents who are supposed to work on that intelligence plant an informant into the segment to give them intelligence to operate. They have not been doing that, and that's why the bandits are catching on this vulnerability in our security agencies or security architecture to cause havoc and mayhem within the people. It's so disheartening. And one of the fundamental functions of any government anywhere was to protect its citizens. And if you cannot do that, that's state or is turning towards the state. So it's so sad, but the president has reacted swiftly on that. I want to applaud the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for reacting. But we're always very reactive. We're not proactive. That's one of the things we have made that recommendation. We have to be proactive, not reactive. So the president reacting to this now. So the military, how did they go through those checkpoints, all those villages routine to come to Woro and attack, and nobody was caught, nobody's arrested? It's still amazing. It's like in a wonderland, Imagine how can happen in Nigeria with the strength of our military, with the strength of our law enforcement agency. We cannot able to. Nobody was caught, nobody's arrested, nobody's being persecuted, and they're going scot-free, and adopted dozens of children and women, using it as a human shield because of any attack, so it's so sad.
And we've been hearing about a lot of these insurgencies and attacks on certain states in Nigeria, whether it be the north. This time we talk about the west, but I want to understand naturally the dynamics, the local dynamics and local resistance may be different. But in Kwara, I want to understand what would be the motive behind it, and are police themselves doing their own intelligence work? Are the security forces, you're saying they're reactive, but do they at least have an arsenal of intelligence that they can use at their disposal? Or are they continually lacking in being accountable?
Yes, they have Nigeria have one of the best military or best law enforcement in Africa, or not even the world, but ability to turn those intention into action. It does rhetoric, so we're just talking about how to smoke up the insurgency, but it seems the insurgents now, the Boko Haram, the bandits are being daring, they are audacious in the act. But the military has that firepower to do that, but nobody reluctancy or probably if it dragging or not be able to turn intention to action has been lacking. It's threatening our national security, and we are being besieged by bandits now, and we're turning towards in faith state, if not probably nip it to the bud. It is a looming national chaos of immense proportion if we don't nip this as swiftly as possible. We're turning towards the election 2027. It will create fears in the mind of Nigerians to go out and vote, and you want Nigerians to come and vote massively, So it's creating fears in Nigerians will be reluctant to do that, and the election will not be credible because majority of Nigerians don't want to come out to risk their life because they know the law enforcement are not there to protect them in terms of if they want to come out to vote. So it's so sad. We have said that we need to have reactive law enforcement agency, not a proactive law enforcement agency, not reactive. Rather, we're always reactive when the thing has happened and nobody's been caught, nobody's been arrested, nobody's been persecuted. So we're still becoming a current occasion, becoming too frequent now, and becoming as if the government is just there. It's not visible. It's just an abstract government.
So let's understand this. President Tinubu has blamed Boko Haram for this attack, but we understand that some local officials are saying it's the Lakurawa group. And I want to understand, is there a sense that some of these armed insurgents are operating in the vicinity, in the area, like ISIL, or have they moved away from what is understood to be their traditional stronghold, which is in the northeast?
Yeah, they're spreading. The military tend to smoke them out in the northeast, in Boko Haram, in those areas, and they're spreading now. They're diverting to other sources of income, to banditry, especially to other part of the region, because of that attack of the American, that December Christmas attack from America. So creating fear. So they're spreading, to other territories where they can, use soft targets as a shield, or to probably create fear in the mind of the people. So that it's part of the ISIS, the book of the Boko Haram. Before the president coming out to make that, there were gotten some intelligence reports. People cannot just allege when he doesn't know. So the security chief would have briefed him from the mode of operandi or signatory of the attack to discover that it's definitely been the Boko Haram insurgency or ISIS affiliation of ISIS, trying to get that support from. So the mode of operandi is still like trying to create fear in the mind, just like the Taliban in Afghanistan using the fear for using force to create fear in the minds of people. That's the same narrative they're trying to. And so decided Nigeria is even the polarized country. People are really meaning to it now. It was creating insecurity in the hands of the people to discredit the government, that the government is not capable of enough to protect lives and property of Nigerians.
Okay.
And that's what I hope the opposition will not keen to this now, to send the narrative to the populace that the government is weak and vulnerable.
I do need to ask this question again because we are running out of time. I did ask about the motive behind it. You speak about what has happened in Afghanistan and other areas, but in this case, is it about religious indoctrination? And if so, wouldn't also it be puzzling, given the fact that we understand that the United States has sent a group of advisory officials just to help combat this, and this is the same United States that has accused Nigeria of allowing for the persecution of Christians. So how does the government rationalize that and having a partner that accuses it of this? And does it mean that it has a case to answer, the government of Nigeria?
Well, the government is trying to be playing politics, trying to mitigate it, not to create impression that they are not able to protect the citizen, and they're trying to convince the American government that we can work, collaborate together. Don't accuse of anything. We're trying to solve it, but we can see that So the Nigerian government is trying to be careful not to offend the Americans. Donald Trump has a way of doing things. We can probably and create a weakness. Nigeria is one of the biggest giants of Africa, so they don't want to be in the back boots of the American president, Donald Trump, is capable of doing anything. So they're trying to know, okay, we can form as an alliance to solve this problem, not attack us or accuse us, so American is seeing that this Christmas attack has triggered has angered the insurgents. Okay, you're trying to dare us, so it's not being careful, you can speed into something else. And that a conflict that cannot be controlled. So we need to probably the government need to be careful how to talk about strategic communication, able to communicate it effectively to Nigerians, and able to not to offend the Americans too, to work together, form that synergy, so that we can form that interagency collaboration and adopt the strategic communication so we do not escalate this. And we're getting towards election 2027. We want to vote as Nigerians, and we don't want to vote in fear or in panic. So
right, the government. Dr. Diyeli, we're going to have to leave it there. I'm afraid we have run out of time. Dr. Diyeli Aigbe is a Criminology and Security Studies lecturer at Caleb University in Lagos.